Soldier is an interesting one when it comes to the case of crutch weapons. He has one true crutch, one weapon that everyone whines about and calls a crutch, two weapons that I personally consider a crutch even though no one agrees with me, and one that I found complaints on despite the fact that it objectively isn't one. So first, I'll start with the direct hit. Guys, this is not a crutch. It's a horrible abomination of mankind from the deepest pits of the abyss! I'm okay. What I mean is this is a weapon that I found a handful of complaints on, but it's just objectively not a crutch, as it's meant to be a high skill-based weapon that rewards proper aim. Now, I don't like this weapon. It's disgusting. I've always been of the opinion that it's broken and poorly designed. The direct hit's exact stats say the following: 25% more damage, 80% faster projectile speed, mini crits targets launched airborne by explosives, grapple hooks, and rocket packs, 70% reduced explosive radius. Alright, so basically, if you can aim really good, it's a straight upgrade in every single way, other than splash damage. It does all the most annoying things you can imagine. Makes reflecting it borderline impossible, kills light classes at close range in a single hit. This unbalanced piece of crap will mini-crit if someone's been launched by explosives. Not just your own! If the target is rocket or sticky jumping, you can one-shot them. It also combos insanely well with the reserve shooter, as the increased damage would also blast the enemies further and higher. Like I said, I don't like this weapon. It's overpowered, boring to use, difficult to counter, and is almost everything in a weapon that agitates me in this game. But the one thing it's not is a crutch. Next, I'll go over the two weapons that I personally consider crutches. First of the two is the rocket jumper. Now, I did a poll asking you guys if you would consider this a crutch, and the answer was an overwhelming no. However, it is a training wheels-esque weapon. It even says so right there on its own description that it's meant for learning how to rocket jump. Speaking of stats, 200% more primary ammo on Wyrm, no self-inflicted blast damage taken, 100% less damage dealt, no random crits. Yeah, okay, that's a little unnecessary given the previous line of text.
What?
The Wyrm cannot carry the intelligence. And worst, most crippling of all, you cannot carry the pastime check. I know, tragic. Makes the weapon unusable trash. Anyway, outside of Trollger, there's not really much I can say about the rocket jumper. And before anyone comes to the poor innocent weapon's defense and tries to champion it, calling it viable or even good, let me tell you right now, the actual greatest Trollger player in the entire world is less efficient than an above-average soldier with stock. You can have fun with it. Hell, that's basically what it was made for. Just don't go pretending it's some kind of sleeper pick or whatever. Next is the gunboats. Oh god, the gunboats! Alright, so stats are easy and simple. 60% less blast damage from rockets. That's all it does. So, you're probably wondering what makes it a crutch. Well, to most people it's not. In fact, I dare say only a scarce few ever would call it a crutch. Personally, I've had a nickname for these things since 2011, the Crutch Boats. Alright, it's not a bad weapon, nor is it really as much of a crutch as, say, the City Sleeper, but it's a weapon I've always personally hated because it encourages reckless and selfish gameplay. I hate seeing these things. If it's on an enemy, it tells me he has no confidence in himself, and he's a reckless loser who's obsessed with spamming. When it's an ally, it tells me they're selfish, and have no interest in helping the team by using one of the three very powerful banners, nor are they interested in the flexibility or personal defense the shotgun can provide. I don't like them. Moving on. Finally, we come to the weapon that everyone and their mother dog piles on like rabid squirrels whenever it's brought up in conversation. The black box. Oh, the black box. The crutch box, as people like to call it. Another very simple weapon for Soldier. Man, he's got a lot of really simple weapons. He's a simple guy. Guess it fits. Simply put, in exchange for one less rocket, you gain health on hits. How much health? Well, it varies on the damage that you deal, with 20 being the most you get back after doing at least 90 damage. Also, fun fact, I didn't know this before doing research, but apparently you do regain health from disguised spies. So, that's a neat tech you can do. Anyway, the black box has always had a really bad rap in the community, and I kinda get it. It can be really, really annoying when Mr. $450 unusual pro kill streak wearing ass hat comboing with the conch banner and the meta girlfriend shoved up his ass flies in out of nowhere and won't stop jump spamming like a dumbass. But aside from that, it's actually a pretty fair weapon. See, the one missing rocket is actually a gigantic skill check. You lose out on a lot of opportunities with it. mobility if you're good at rocket jumping, and even just simple firepower. If you equip this thing as a crutch and hoping it'll compensate or whatever, you're gonna be let down. It's a strong weapon in the right situation, but for the most part, it's really not as unfair as people make it sound. Sure, in a 1v1, you're gonna feel cheated. You'll always say, if it wasn't for that crutch box. But in a firefight, when you gotta get to the other side of the map since yesterday, not so much. Now, it does combo with the conch shell really, really well. So well that you'll think it was made for it specifically, instead of the banner that actually was made with it in mind. The passive health regen stacking on top of the health on hit effect is a terrific combo that really does help compensate for the 4th rocket. And if you're on your own in a casual match and you know for a fact that you'll have a lot of minor skirmishes instead of one gigantic all-out war, like, for example, Capture the Flag or King of the Hill, then it can actually be a really fun and strong playstyle. I don't consider this weapon a crutch, like, at all. Not only is it not a training wheels for anything, it's perfectly strong side grade to stock, though honestly, on its own, without a synergistic secondary, like if you tried pairing this with the gunboats or the parachute, it's pretty bad. For best results, use it with the conch to go all in on survivability, or a shotgun for more personal defense. Now, maybe it's just because my favorite school in terms of gimmick from Wizard 101 is death, but I love this thing and its vampiric ability. Health stealing in video games is a feature that I never get tired of, so I admit, I'm a little biased for this weapon. I like it. I love it even. I love it so much, I've always wanted an Australian version, but sadly, I'm just not willing to shell out that much money for it. I'm not willing to pay $36 for one, but I am willing to spend $840 for a chance at one. Oh, dang it. Finally, we have the one and true objective crutch that Soldier has, the Liberty Launcher. This weapon is the truest definition of a crutch. So what does it do? One more rocket in the clip, 40% faster projectile speed, 25% less self-damage from rocket jumping. Hey, that sounds fantastic! Earlier I mentioned how harmful one less rocket really is with the black box, so surely something that gives an extra one, and that's easier to aim thanks to the increased projectile speed, will be a top-tier meta oh, wait, there's more. One more line of text here. Minus 25% damage. Oh. So, Liberty Launcher basically is a weapon meant for precision and mobility, and honestly, it does its role quite well. I'll be honest, this is not a very good weapon. In fact, it's objectively bad. But it might just be the best crutch in the entire game, due to it perfectly performing its exact role flawlessly. Let me explain. If you're a new player who's good at hit-scan bullets, but not quite up to speed on how TF2's projectiles work, this thing's increased speed can really help you out, and the extra rocket makes it more forgiving if you miss, helping you line up your shots right, and preventing you from getting jumped or reloading, and it does less self-damage, allowing you to be a tiny bit more reckless up close or in enclosed areas. I'll admit, throughout testing of this gun, I actually was starting to have a lot of fun with it. The minus 25% damage was a huge deal, though. Heavies could tank all 5 rockets and be just fine, scouts were taking 3 to 4 rockets to beat, it was rough. But this thing does synergize quite well with another crutch, the gunboats. Combined, these things will make it so you only take 15% of the self-inflicted rocket jump damage, essentially letting you ignore self-damage. This makes chaining rocket jumps a risk-free exchange. You get tons of mobility, with some firepower left for sneak attacks or aerial bombardments, all without taking too much damage in the process. Well, from yourself, anyway. Watch out for the fall damage. Man, Valve should really add a weapon that just eliminates fall damage from Soldier. Maybe even Demo, too. Oh god, no, not like that! Another weapon that synergizes really well with the Liberty Launcher is the buff banner. This thing will, after inflicting enough damage, enable you to activate a rage mode that gives you and all nearby teammates mini crits for 10 seconds, and in case you forgot, mini crits are 35% more damage. Meaning, every now and then, you'll get the ability to deal essentially 10% more damage than stock, all with an extra rocket, faster projectiles, and less self-damage. Honestly, making it quite a good combo overall. But, despite all that, this weapon's still not very good. The sheer amount of damage lost, even when comboed with the buff banner, is just too much of a sacrifice. I would struggle to kill demos with the buff active. Heavies would think I was hitting them with a wet pool noodle. Most would see me using the Liberty Launcher and just start charging straight forward because they know they could easily shrug off 3 or 4 of the rockets. It's a pretty bad weapon, but a fun one, and it teaches the player how to soldier quite well and efficiently. If you're new to the game and need help learning the ins and outs of Soldier, Liberty Launcher can be a pretty good teacher. And like all teachers, you'll eventually surpass it, thank it for all the help it gave, and move on to greater heights. This concludes the Crutch Weapons of the Soldier.